Hey everybody, Joe here, and yeah, welcome to another episode of the CIR files. So I hope everybody who is applying for the JET program, that you're doing, you're getting, your application, you're, getting it done and getting, rolling right along with that. I hope you're able to get something out of my last video. I've gotten a couple more questions since then, so I thought that I would cover those now. Um, and yes, I am wearing a sweater, or something that's kind of like a sweater, a thin sweater anyway. It is very cold here in Toyama right now. Actually, it is, yeah, this morning it was in the 30s, and during the day it was in the 40s, and I was wearing a jacket at school all day. This is my teaching day. Um, and then right now I'm wearing a sweater. I have the heater on over there, and it's only, October 27th, in kind of like a little bit more of a southern section of Japan, like kind of mid country, and it's really extremely cold, more so than it should be. But it's supposed to go up in temperature, in a day or two. But for now, it's quite cold. So okay, so the questions that I have, I had one on my blog basically asking some specific questions about the application, some of the different sections. The first thing they were asking me was about the teaching experience, employment history, and volunteer sections. That they kind of were all kind of seemed like the same kind of thing. You could put must have had some kind of experiences that could fit kind of into each one, um, more or less. And basically, I'd say is just try and pick the one that's most appropriate. Um, if for no other reason than, if you are accepted for a interview, then they may or may not, ask you about your previous experiences, and then, if it seems like, you kind of just like threw one in there randomly in a spot just to fill up a box, then that might not come off so well. But ultimately, it's just whatever box it seems to be most appropriate for. If it really seems like it could fit either or, then I'd say yeah, like break it up and then try and have at least one thing in each section. So for example, I have my application here that I did, um, you know, back last year when I was applying. Under classroom teaching, I was a teacher at an Eikaiwa at a conversation school, and basically that's what I put there. That I was a teacher at an Eikaiwa English conversation school, for about 6 months, and yeah, that was the only thing that I put there for classroom teaching because that's the only classroom teaching experience that I had had up to that point. Excuse me. Next was a section on other teaching or tutoring. I didn't put anything there because honestly I could not think of anything. And then C, this section here was teacher training or education courses, and hadn't taken any, so it was just all blank. Then there was international intercultural experience. So this was able to fill up a little bit better. Obviously, the big one was study abroad. I put down that basically study abroad. I studied abroad in Hirosaki. That was one section, one box. Number two was that I was a volunteer English conversation partner 2 times for students who came over from Hirosaki to the University of Maine, and I just put down that I had volunteered like I think 3 times a week to speak English with them, for 3 weeks at a time, twice. And then for the third one, I put down that helped at a study abroad fair for the University of Maine twice a year. They have a big study abroad fair that the Office of International Programs puts on, and I helped represent Japan there. So that was number three. Number 4 and 5 were personal trips. I went to South Korea just on my own with some friends who were Korean, and just I put that down, had a good time, 2 weeks. That's international intercultural experience in my book. I'd never been there before, and I learned a lot of really interesting things about Korean culture. And then number 5, back when I think I was a freshman in high school, my family took a trip to Europe, and basically put that down there for number 5. So then employment experience, this is a little bit more straightforward. Obviously jobs where you're making money. So, I worked at a couple factories, I worked at GameStop, I worked at Burger King, and filled all that up. So not too bad. Um, let's see here, the next section was volunteering, I believe, if volunteering. Wait, let me try and find it. Aha, here we are. Extracurricular, volunteer activities, and leadership positions. So the first one that I put down was the Hirosaki University Exploration Club. I was in the Hirosaki Daigaku Tankenbu, um, basically, doing outdoorsy type things. So that was my club in college when I was in Japan. So that was number one on my list. Number two, right before I went to Japan for about 6 months, um, I was a bi-weekly columnist for the student newspaper. Put that down. And then next two were clubs that I was in at University of Maine. I was in the Gamers Guild, so a little bit of kind of geeky club activities going on here, where they would just get their computers together and we would play networked games. And then also the anime club. I was in that for my first year, but I only went for the first year. But still, 1 year it counts, and so I put that down. Some people might say you might get advice that says don't put anything down your application that kind of talks about like anime or manga or games or anything like that. Because kind of like stereotypically, it seems like some people are worried that it's going to put off the wrong image. You're going to Japan just to like nerd out and go to Akihabara and go to maid cafes and just read manga all day, that kind of thing. And not coming actually to teach. Like that's not what you actually want to do. You don't want to, this is a job. So, um, but I put down anime club in my application, and here I am on the JET program. So, I guess every situation is different. And then leadership positions. I helped out with my friend of his, my friend of mine. Excuse me. Kind of established a kind of independent game design kind of group company, if you will, and I helped found it. And we went around to a couple conventions in Maine, and we were kind of put some interviews and put them down on a blog. Also did a little bit of tabletop game design and also computer game design. I didn't help really too much with the actual game design portion of it, but I hung out and I helped establish the group, so I put that down. And I do believe that is everything for that. So let's see here. Still have a few more minutes. Then they're also asking me about honor scholarships and achievements. Honor scholarships and achievements. Yes. So I put down. These are what I put down. Basically anything. Like it says, anything prior to high school graduation, only if it's relevant. So I actually did have two things before high school graduation that I thought were relevant. First, I am an Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts of America, so I put that down. Then number two, I was in the National Honor Society in high school, and I figured that would count because it's kind of like kind of a catch-all, pretty general award for academic achievement in high school. Put that down. Number three, I was on the dean's list for the semester before I went to Japan, and since I was applying during the semester that I came back from Japan, I hadn't yet been on the dean's list twice. I ended up going to the dean's list that semester and the following semester. I'd only been on it once, but still, once you can still put that down. So I put down dean's list. And then I also, for that year that I was in the dean's list, I got actually, yes, that was for getting dean's list twice in a row that year. So I got Presidential Achievement Award. So that year, 2006, I got dean's list both semesters. And that's all I put. So if you can put stuff down like that, like for college, if you're on dean's list, if you have any kind of extracurricular kind of awards or kind of titles or anything like that, I'll put that down. I put down National Honor Society. If you're a National Honor Society, put that down. Anything like that that kind of speaks to your academic and your leadership and your kind of driven, motivated self. That you're a go-getter, you're a good person, kind of. Anything that can help back that up is good. So also asking about Japanese-related studies. Yeah, just put down your classes. That's what I did. I put down absolutely everything that I took at Hirosaki, like all of it. I put it down under there because it was all Japanese related. I had Japanese culture classes and Japanese language classes. So, also I had. So I guess that'll do it for specific questions about the application. I also had questions about the interview, and I'd say don't worry about it. Just focus on the application. I will have a video up later though about the interview and more specifically like what happened to me, but that won't be for another couple of months, probably not until January. So, but look forward to it. Okay, and then letters of recommendation. Just make sure, guys, that you have really good letters of recommendation. I had one from my former boss at my conversation school, and I had one from my Office of International Programs. So both these people were kind of somehow related one way or another to my international experience of going abroad and or helping out with study abroad at home, meeting with foreign exchange students, etc. People who are in those positions are really good, but just make sure that they're strong recommendations. You have a good relationship with them, and you should be able to get a good recommendation. Okay, guys, so I think that's going to do it for this one. So if you have any more questions, just leave them down below. All right, good luck, guys. See ya.